Mirasee. There is a story of Hoja Nasraddin, who was seen out in front of his home one night, searching for something on the dusty ground where there was light. The good neighbor rushed out to help. "Nasraddin, what have you lost?" he asked. "I've lost the key to my safe." "Let me help you look for the key to your safe," the man cried. Together they pored over the dusty ground for some time. Hi, I'm Lisa Bloom, the story coach, and you're listening to Once Upon a Business. In each episode, we explore a story, a fairy tale, folk tale, or traditional story, so that we can discover the amazing lessons relevant for business and for entrepreneurs. At last the neighbour said, "Nasraddin, we've been looking for your key for 10 minutes and have covered every inch of ground. Are you sure you lost it right here?" "Oh no," said Nasraddin, sitting up. "I didn't lose the key here. I lost it in the house." "You lost it in the house? If you lost it in the house, why are you looking for it out here?" "Well, because the light is better here, of course." I've always enjoyed the stories of Hoja Nasraddin. He's described in many ways, both formally and informally. From the 13th century in Turkey, his stories are told all over the region, the Middle East and North Africa, and he's described as a teacher, a holy man, but also a trickster and a wise fool. I love the role of the wise fool. It's the same as the role of the court jester, the only person who could tell truth to the king. The idea that foolishness can be the messenger for truth fascinates me, that through laughing and having fun we can learn and even acquire wisdom. Because Nasraddin, above all, is considered a character who shares wisdom in his funny comments and antics. I remember another story that I love of Hoja Nasraddin, where they tell that Hoja was walking down a street with some of his students. Remember, he's a teacher, a wise man, and they were all listening to him. And he walked down the street and suddenly he jumped to the side and he said, "Oh my goodness, there used to be a terrible hole in this road, a terrible pit in the ground. And so many people would fall and trip. And I myself fell into this hole. And I even know of somebody who fell in and broke their leg. It was a terrible, terrible hole. It was a terrible thing to walk down this street." And the students looked at each other. And then they turned to Nasraddin and they said to him, "But our teacher, Nasraddin, this hole was filled a long time ago. This road was repaired. It's okay. It's gone." And Hoja Nasraddin said, "Well, the hole is gone, but the fear remains." And I love that story because it just seems so ridiculous and so almost funny and yet so wise. How so many things in our lives pass, and yet we live on with the fear. We live on with the memory. We don't let it go. But this story also has hidden wisdom, despite how short it is and despite how flippant it may seem. It's almost a joke and not a story, but if we look closer, we can also see the wisdom here. We can see what's actually here. The idea of looking to the light, it reminds me of how entrepreneurs can so easily jump on the bandwagon. When there's a certain industry or niche that has catapulted into public awareness or popularity, and everyone jumps on it, we can get distracted by where we see the light shining, paying little attention to where we can actually contribute, what we can bring that's authentic and true to our talents, abilities, and our beliefs. But there's another way that we can get distracted by where the light is shining. Let's say we're on a particular business path with some great ideas. Sometimes we fear that what is illuminated is where we should be looking. After all, it's clear and obvious and easy to see. So then we doubt ourselves and what we have committed to doing, and we can get distracted and knocked off our path. When we're able to muster up the courage to move away from the light, to follow our own unique, authentic path, it will reveal the value, the key, the thing that's lost. Because where we lost something is not always the easiest place to look. Sometimes that means waiting until the sun shines the next day, when you can see more clearly in the light. A focus on where it isn't yields more of the same, but a focus on where it is, even when it's out of our comfort zone, will deliver every time. And then there's the wisdom of looking in the light, even though it's far from where the thing was lost. Nasraddin is looking for the key to his safe. Presumably, he wants to get to something that he has deemed so valuable that it needed to be stored away in a safe. But maybe by focusing his attention on what he can see in the light, he might find something of even more value. Maybe looking in the light really means looking to inspiration, to always follow our own light and be inspired by the light of others. Maybe what we're looking for is not what we actually need, but if we follow our inspiration, then we'll find something entirely different, something that will be the most valuable of all. I'm Lisa Bloom, and you've been listening to Once Upon a Business. You can find out more about me at story-coach.com. That's story-coach.com. Once Upon a Business is part of the Mirasee FM podcast network, which also includes such shows as Just Between Coaches and Course Lab. This episode of Once Upon a Business was produced by Cynthia Lamb. Jeff Govertson and Melissa Deal assembled the episode. Danny Inney is our executive producer. Post-production was by Post Office Sound. To catch the episodes that are coming up on Once Upon a Business, please follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening right now. And if you like the show, please leave us a starred review. It really does help us out. Thank you. We'll see you next time.